Well, the first returns are coming in on the WNBA All-Star voting. Of course, it will be in Indianapolis. And as you can imagine, Caitlin Clark is leading the All-Star vote. By the way, it looks like a massive turnout.
The WNBA tried to force Angel Reese on the world as its next superstar, but the fans just delivered a brutal public rejection. While Caitlin Clark stormed to over 500,000 All-Star votes, Reese was humiliated, failing to even crack the top 10. This wasn't just a popularity contest, it was a fan revolt against a media-driven narrative. The league anointed her as the future, but the people who actually watched the game sent a clear message. They aren't buying it. The story behind the shocking numbers reveals exactly why this carefully crafted plan completely backfired.
Be honest. Second straight year that Clark has led the fan voting. She was second in early returns in fan voting in 2024, but jumped to first with around 700,000 total votes by the end of the period. So I'm wondering, are we going to see 1 million votes this time? Because I saw somebody earlier that said, so far, voting is actually way up versus exactly where we was at this time last year.
The media machine worked tirelessly to build the legend of Angel Reese. It was a full-scale coronation designed to place her on a throne right next to Caitlin Clark, whether her performance merited it or not. The campaign was relentless and strategic. Outlets like Forbes ran glowing headlines calling her a primary driving force behind the WNBA's growth, sometimes even omitting Clark's name from the conversation entirely. A baffling move considering Clark was the one shattering every viewership and attendance record in sight. Angel Reese's face was suddenly everywhere, from major endorsement deals with brands like Reebok to national ad campaigns that positioned her as a household name before she had even proven herself on a professional court.
The greatest myth in the WNBA dump has officially been exposed. The myth of all myths, the deception of deception. For the better part of 2 years, maybe even 3 years, the mainstream media has been trying to convince us that Angel Reese is a huge star.
The league itself was a key player in this push. The WNBA's official social media accounts constantly promoted her college highlights and her Bayou Barbie persona, ensuring she remained in the digital spotlight. She became a fixture in interviews, confidently telling the world that she was a huge reason for the newfound attention on women's basketball. She famously declared, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too." The stage was set, the narrative was written, and her superstardom was presented as an accomplished fact. But the media had built a throne that the fans refused to let her sit on. The first voting returns weren't just a surprise, they were a public indictment of the entire strategy.
Some in the media even do investigative journalism and claim that Angel Reese is the face of the WNBA because she leads the league in followers on social media, along with missed layups and a complete lack of athleticism. Of course, the vast majority of her followers are bots and lonely men, most of which are not buying tickets or watching her games on television because they can't afford the 5 pesos a month to watch the Chicago Bravado on WNBA League Pass.
When the first All-Star voting returns dropped, the numbers weren't just surprising, they were jaw-dropping. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom from Indiana, had surged to a stunning 516,000 votes, a figure that dwarfed everyone else in the league. She wasn't just leading, she was operating in a different stratosphere of popularity, one built on undeniable performance. And Angel Reese, she was nowhere to be found, not in the top 5, not even in the top 10. The self-proclaimed co-face of the league landed in a distant 13th place with just over 173,000 votes.
People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too.
That's not just a gap, it's a canyon, a chasm that separates genuine stardom from promoted fame. To make matters worse, it wasn't just Clark who left her in the dust. Seasoned MVP candidates like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart were far ahead, as expected, but even her fellow 20 2023 NCAA champion, Aaliyah Boston, who many media narratives had placed in Reese's shadow, pulled in a massive 447,000 votes, nearly triple Reese's total. Players like Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, and even lesser-known rookies like Kiki Ariafen were ranked ahead of her. The message from the fans was crystal clear. They weren't just choosing Clark over Reese, they were choosing a whole list of other players too. This wasn't a simple popularity problem. Fans were looking past the headlines and directly at the stat sheet, and what they found there tells the real unflattering story.
And there's a supposed, people keep telling me, supposed second most popular player in the league that doesn't look like the second most popular player at all. And in fact, a rookie I have been touting that is playing better than Angel Reese, Kiki Ariafen. Well, basketball fans are showing up, and they have got her voted ahead of Angel right now. Angel is not in the top 10.
Behind the confident persona and the media hype, the on-court numbers exposed a brutal truth. Angel Reese, for all her branding as an elite player, was performing like one of the most inefficient offensive players in the entire WNBA. Through her first several games, her shooting percentage hovered at an alarming 30.9% from the floor. For a forward who operates almost exclusively near the basket, that number isn't just bad, it's a massive liability. Post players are expected to be the most efficient scorers on the team, but Reese was missing nearly 2/3 of her shots, many of them right at the rim. One analyst described a performance against the Fever as laughably bad, where she flung up wild shots that missed the rim by feet, looking awkward and out of her depth.
According to Forbes, Caitlin Clark is not responsible for elevating this turd into the mainstream. The ladies responsible for elevating the WNBA are Angel Reese and the unknown face of the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces.
While her supporters point to her rebounding numbers, and it's true she is an elite, tenacious rebounder, that single skill was not enough to mask her glaring weaknesses. In today's WNBA, where spacing, shooting, and versatility are paramount, being a one-dimensional player is a recipe for being a role player, not an all-star. Her offensive game lacked polish, her assists were minimal, and her defensive presence was limited, with only 2 blocked shots early in the season. Her rebounding was impressive, but it often came at the cost of team offense, as she couldn't create her own shot or score efficiently. While Reese was a force on the glass, but a liability almost everywhere else, her biggest rival was simultaneously proving that true stardom is built on undeniable all-around skill.
Enough to tell you where Angel Reese's place is. Well, it's 13th place. And I can tell you right now, Jonquel Jones ought to be ahead of her.
While Reese's stats revealed a player struggling to find her footing, Caitlin Clark's performance was an avalanche of undeniable production that needed no marketing spin. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was a complete offensive engine, a transcendent talent who immediately lived up to the hype. She was leading her team in points and assists, hitting deep logo-range threes that made every highlight real, and displaying a passing vision that elevated her entire team. Her impact was tangible and historic. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games skyrocketed. TV ratings for the WNBA shattered records whenever she played. Arenas across the country were selling out on the road, filled not just with home fans, but with thousands of people wearing her number 22 jersey.
There is obviously no way Angel can compare to Caitlin Clark as a shooter or a passer. And there is no way Angel can live up to her dynamic social media / podcast presence as a shooter or a passer or even a shot blocker. She's blocked only 2 shots so far this season. She doesn't even do that.
Clark's stardom wasn't built in a marketing meeting or pushed by a PR firm. It was forged on the court night after night with a brand of basketball so compelling it was impossible to ignore. Fans were responding to her substance, her historic stat lines, and her uncanny ability to single-handedly change the outcome of a game. The overwhelming all-star vote for Clark wasn't a mystery. It was a direct reward for a player who delivered on every promise. The huge gap between Clark and Reese wasn't just about 2 players. It revealed a fundamental flaw in the league's star-building strategy, exposing a manufactured narrative that fans saw right through from the very beginning.
Not only is the self-proclaimed Barbie not in the lead, Angel Reese isn't even close to making the top 10.
This lopsided vote tally was more than just a referendum on two players. It was a full-blown fan revolt against a forced narrative. Sports fans now more than ever have a deep-seated allergy to inauthenticity. They can smell a manufactured star from a mile away and often take pleasure in rejecting athletes who feel pushed on them by leagues or the media. There's a profound appreciation for authenticity, for players who earn their stripes through grit, determination, and most importantly, undeniable performance.
7, 8, 9 on the list are Kelsey Mitchell, Sabrina Ionescu, and Lexington Hull. The following three are Kiki Ariafin, Kelsey the Plumber, and Satu Sabali? You mean to tell me these unknowns are ranked ahead of the face of the league?
The media and the league tried to create a rivalry of equals, a two-sided coin with Clark on one side and Reese on the other. But fans saw the blatant reality. One player was a generational talent breaking records and driving the league's business to unprecedented heights, while the other was a rebounding specialist with serious holes in her game.
Lexi Hull, 217,000, and there is Kiki Arafin, 213,500. She's averaging a double-double, a legit double-double, with a good field goal percentage. Angel Reese, well, wait a minute. I thought it was about you too. Everybody's watching because of me too, except everybody's not watching because of you too. I mean, guys, if the ratings ain't enough and the attendance ain't enough and what happened at LSU ain't enough and all this other stuff ain't enough to tell you where Angel Reese's place is, well, it's 13th place.
The All-Star vote became a form of protest, a way for the audience to collectively say, we see what's really happening here, and we don't agree. It was a powerful correction to a story that felt disingenuous, and a massive endorsement for the player whose historic talent needed no extra spin. In the age of social media, fans are the ultimate arbiters of fame, and they use their power to dismantle a narrative they felt was insulting to their intelligence. But the blame doesn't just lie with the media. Some argue that Reese's own polarizing personality and actions played a significant role in this shocking outcome.
So even right down here, the Mirror's calling out Angel Reese. As for Reese, one-time All-Star from last year in a rookie season alongside Clark, who appears set to earn a second honor, has struggled in 2025. 23-year-old, notorious for her rebounding supremacy, averages 11 points, but the Sky are 3-8. And she's shooting like, I don't even know what she's at now. It's probably less than 35%.
Angel Reese's brand is built on a foundation of bold, unapologetic confidence. She trash talks her opponents, she celebrates with unmatched flair, and she is never afraid to speak her mind. This persona made her a champion in college and a darling of media outlets desperate for a great soundbite. But that same confidence becomes a heavy liability when the on-court performance doesn't back it up. Her public declarations about being the reason people were watching set an impossibly high bar, a standard that her inefficient, inconsistent rookie season stats simply couldn't clear. To many fans, the attitude felt unearned at the professional level.
Let's see, fan voting runs through the 28th, culmination of fan voting 50%, player votes 25%, and media votes. Oh, that's going to be where Angel Reese makes her move. Media votes 25% will determine the All-Star starters. Looking right at you, CBS, you still ain't released the ratings.
While Caitlin Clark was relatively humble off the court, letting her revolutionary game do the talking, Reese's persona demanded a level of dominance that she couldn't deliver. As a result, what was once seen as confidence was reframed by critics as unearned arrogance. Making matters worse, as the votes were being tallied, she was seen on social media practically begging her followers to vote for her, a move that further undermined her image as a top-tier star.
Nafisi Collier, who is probably the leader of the MVP pack right now, is at 485,000. Aaliyah Boston is third, 447,000, as she should be. Aaliyah should get some MVP conversation, I'm going to be honest.
The very personality that made her famous created a prove-it dynamic with fans, and when she failed to prove it, they responded with indifference. Her personality made for great headlines, but it also painted a target on her back, one the media was more than willing to exploit.
I know Kelsey Plum is likable. She's a lovely lady, but you mean to tell me she's more popular than Angel Reese? The same Angel Reese who has been begging, and I mean begging, people on social media to vote for her? Angel Reese, number 13 on the list, 173,000 votes. Aaliyah Boston, who most people have never heard of, has received 447,000 votes.
Beyond her own actions, Angel Reese became a pawn in the media's relentless quest for a simple narrative. Sports thrive on rivalries. Bird versus Magic, Brady versus Manning. And from the moment Clark and Reese faced off in college, the media tried to force them into these hero and villain roles. Caitlin Clark was cast as the humble All-American sharpshooter, while Angel Reese was positioned as the flashy, trash-talking antagonist. This simplistic framing was easy to sell, but it ignored all nuance and created a clear double standard in coverage.
Didn't shoot a single free throw. Although she did have 12 rebounds, her average, which does lead the league. But a couple of times Angel drove it and flung up just these wild shots from 3 or 4 feet that missed the rim by, 3 or 4 feet. Just looked so ridiculously awkward, like she'd never even played basketball before.
When Reese taunted opponents, it was often celebrated as passion and personality, but when Clark showed any hint of frustration or emotion, she was often criticized for being a crybaby or a poor sport. This selective coverage deliberately fueled a divide among fans. The media wasn't just reporting on a rivalry, it was actively building one, often at Reese's expense. They propped her up as a controversial figure because controversy drives clicks and viewership, but in doing so, they painted her into a corner. She became the villain in a story where the hero was putting up historic numbers, and fans ultimately sided with the hero. The media got its headlines, but Reese was left with the fallout. But while the media focused on crafting a rivalry, savvy fans were looking at the one metric that truly matters: winning.
These numbers are 100% accurate, and Angel Reese is the 13th most popular player in the WNBA. This probably means she will not be a starter in the All-Star Game, which would make sense because Angel Reese shouldn't be a starter for a regular season game.
An all-star is supposed to be a player who elevates their team and contributes to winning. But what happens when a player's stats, even impressive ones, don't translate to success? This is the final, crucial piece of the Angel Reese puzzle. While she was grabbing rebounds at a league-leading pace, her team, the Chicago Sky, was struggling badly with a losing record. This exposed the truth about empty stats, numbers that look good in a box score but don't actually help a team win games. Her high volume of rebounds couldn't make up for her offensive inefficiency, her low shooting percentage, and her team's inability to score when the ball was in her hands. Every missed layup or turnover was a possession that didn't result in points, and those empty possessions add up to losses. In stark contrast, players who were ranked far above her, like Aja Wilson or Brianna Stewart, are known for making their teams better. Even Clark, on a rebuilding Indiana team, clearly elevated her squad's competitiveness. Fans, and especially the players and media who also vote for All-Stars, recognize this. They reward players who contribute to a winning culture, not just those who pad their individual statistics on a losing team. This damning combination of a flawed game and a losing record created the perfect storm for her public rejection. In the end, the WNBA's elaborate marketing machine collided with the hard, cold reality of on-court performance, and the fans sided overwhelmingly with performance. The All-Star vote was a clear and powerful statement that echoed across the league. You cannot manufacture a superstar. Hype can get you headlines, branding can get you commercials, but only skill and substance can earn you true, lasting devotion. Angel Reese's struggle to even crack the top 10 is a seismic wake-up call, proving that fans are watching closer than ever, and they value what happens during the game far more than the storylines created off of it. This leaves behind a trail of burning, league-altering questions. Will the WNBA be forced to rethink its entire star-building playbook? Can Angel Reese swallow her pride, evolve her game, and develop the offensive skills needed to truly match her massive brand? Or was this vote the first real sign that the hype train has officially gone off the rails, leaving her superstar aspirations in the dust for good?